Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the Home Turf Podcast. I am your host, Gaspard here. Back, episode 25. Quarter away from 100. Big 2-5. Big 2-5. I got two people on here with me today. I got Collin.
Yes, sir.
And I got that boy, Hunter.
Hey.
And we have a lot to talk about today. Some big news with basketball. Some doo-doo news in football. And what else is going on? I guess you'll find out here on episode 25. Thank you. Welcome back, Ags. So remember to rodhitch.com. It's like Uber, but for longer distances. Use code AggieNews3 for 40% off your first three rides. And basically what it is, you're going out of town, want to make some extra cash, be a good Aggie, help another Aggie out, bring them home, bring them on their vacation. Just, let them hop along. So, hey, go to rodhitch.com, use AggieNews3, and you get a little discount. So, welcome back, Aggies. We're on our 25th episode of Home Turf. Like I said, I got Collin and Hunter with me. What's going on, y'all?
Dude, we're a fourth of the way to 100.
Fourth?
A fourth. That's like not that far away.
It's like a quarter.
Dude, that's crazy. That's almost like...
That's a George Washington.
Yeah, like in the third quarter when we had -2 rushing yards total against the Auburn Tigers.
Any positive yards is only
that's hard. That has to be harder to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I feel like I could get a yard at least.
I feel like I could at least break even. Like
100%.
I could at least get a donut. A zero would have been successful.
No, literally, all you have to do is take 3 steps forward and fall forward. That's all you have to do. You just have to fall forward.
He should. You know what Jimbo should have called? Our amazing offensive coordinator, Jimbo. You know what he should have called? He should have called 2 QB sneaks for 3rd and 4th down. So that way we at least get a yard. Just 0 because the embarrassment of like just looking at that padlock stat. Nobody's gonna remember. Oh, they were, horrible the entire game. But if they look and they go, oh man, -2 yards in the entire third quarter, like 15 minutes. Which is a fourth of the game. Like we have a fourth of the number.
I have a new better proposition. I was reading a thing about, I don't remember who it was, but like forever ago, I think it was Tech was playing someone, and the weather conditions were so bad they started punting on 1st and 2nd down. And it's like the record for like most punts in a game.
That's crazy.
They're punting on 2nd and 3rd down.
Like 1st and 2nd, because the weather was so bad, like you couldn't even run your offense, so you're just kind of hoping their offense would mess up and you would get something. So I think we should have done that.
I think that would have been more productive than what happened
That's
this past
so
Saturday.
funny.
Just punt on 1st down and then just wait. I mean, we got like 3 fumbles that didn't count in like a row.
I hate that. I was like, that's not a bad idea. Like I think we should do that.
No,
that was like last week with like Northwestern and Ohio State. The wind was like 50 miles an hour. They like didn't throw the ball or anything.
You know what's crazy about that game?
What?
So do y'all do prize picks? It's a fun little parlay app where you kind of make friendly little bets on
outcomes.
Totally legal.
Okay,
so let me clarify. This
if it's
is
not
legal,
on outcomes, it's legal.
It's a legal game.
Yeah.
Everyone, if you're in Texas, you can do it. It's kind of like DraftKings. It's something like that. It's silly
loophole. Yeah.
Well, I put together, man. I was up all night making the nastiest parlay, the sickest parlay that weekend.
Yeah.
I had 4 dominant players. For my 5th one, I was like, you know what? C.J. Stroud. Over 270 passing yards.
Every week besides that one.
Yeah, why?
Oh, yeah. Every week that's been a safe pick.
They were at Northwestern, right?
Yeah, you're talking about that. It was a weekend ago.
It's always windy there.
Oh, it was. I didn't know that.
How did you not know?
I did not know that.
It's Northwestern.
I don't think. Yeah. You think I keep?
You got to think about weather.
Yeah.
You got to look up climate.
Yeah. Well,
don't get me started on Northwestern's home field advantage in front of all 5 of those liberal arts students.
Yeah.
It literally could be snowing. It could be a blizzard there. Northwestern is what 1-8.
Yeah, they're bad.
Against the number 1 team in the nation?
I actually have no idea. I was giving you a hard time on the weather stuff. I have never heard of that before.
You could literally throw
Apparently that's a
screen to Marvin Harrison, and he would just run a 50 yards, touchdown.
Yeah.
Throw it 5 yards, beat out them weak half-star corners, get another 100 yards.
Where's it at?
Evanston, Illinois.
I'm never going to forget that. That's like App State. I had no idea where App State was,
Boone.
and now I'll never forget that. I will always know where App State is.
Boone, North
Boone,
Carolina.
North Carolina.
I was like, where? The Appalachian Mountains, it's like a huge mountain range. Like, where on earth is App State?
Oh,
and now I know.
Their football
Boone.
stadium is gorgeous, though. App State.
Dude.
Oh,
It's like in the
yeah.
middle of,
Oh,
like,
it's
the woods. You see the
beautiful.
mountains in the background. It's
They're-
like gorgeous.
Their campus is really pretty. It's like right on the edge, and so like during this time of the year, like students will go skiing and stuff. Like they just walk to the ski slopes. I'm like, that's so cool. You know, I don't.
That's beautiful. That's
But
beautiful.
you know
I'm
what's
tearing
even
up over here
you know what's
thinking
even
about
more
there.
beautiful? Aggie Park. I love
Aggie
Aggie.
Park.
I,
Oh my
have you been to Aggie Park?
Dude, I was there last weekend. I was
Yeah?
no, so my buddy got his ring Friday.
Oh, cool.
And
Congrats to him.
Friday it was pouring.
Yeah.
Pouring, shoving. It was cold. And I went before it started pouring. He got his ring. We were waiting on the bus, and they just all came down.
Mhm.
And we realized about 10 minutes into it that this wasn't the bus stop. There's just 20 people standing there for fun. And I was like, are you kidding me? Let's just run. I'll run. My phone gets soaking wet. My charger barely even works
Really?
now. My
Oh.
charger's like all wet inside.
Dude,
it's
that
horrible.
sucks.
I haven't ran that much in my life. I was taking stops every like 10 yards maybe, and I was just trying to catch my breath. Finally made it to the car. I was soaking wet, dripped down. I got in my car. I was in my undies in my car driving home just because I didn't want to get anything wet.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just miserable.
That
But
sounds
yeah, the
awful.
first time I go to Aggie Park was a pretty interesting experience.
I
was
went-
soaking wet.
I went for the Florida game. I was at the Aggie Park.
Mhm.
And I don't do tailgating or drink or do any of that stuff. So I'm just like hanging out. I don't really know what to do, but I had so much fun just hanging out and going to different tailgates and stuff and hanging out. It was so
They
much
tailgate
fun.
at Aggie Park?
Hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Really?
kind of like
It's
the
like-
big thing now.
There's like there are like public spots where you essentially like it's just like a random bid. Like you put in a bid and they'll give you like a random spot. But then it's like paid spots where like you pay like per game and
Oh,
you
like-
like get it. And like those are nice because they put out your tent. Like they have their own tents and they put it out for you. They put out ice chests for you, like everything. And when it's done, you take your stuff and they take everything down.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's
so they have to
super
do all the,
awesome.
like, heavy
Yeah.
lifting and stuff after you lose. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
After you lose,
After you go,
that is
Get-
something
get-
you have to think about.
yeah, get all your drinks,
I'd leave an
get
ice
all your
chest.
food, set up your TV and all that. I mean, you don't have to bring nothing. They got everything taken care of. All
Yeah.
you have to do is
Yeah.
go watch A&M put up 10 points, lose.
I can't
Dude.
imagine-
Horrible
I can't
performance.
imagine
That's crazy.
losing,
Go
losing
home.
to App State and then having to go home and
Oh.
like pack up your like go outside and like pack up your tent and everything.
Yeah, it's like going on a hunting trip and you like hiked a mile in the cold and you've got 15 pounds on you and you didn't
Yeah.
see a single deer or really an animal and you're like, I don't want to walk back. I don't want to go back at all. I want to
that's
go to
why I
bed.
don't hunt.
You don't hunt at all?
No. I went hunting one time with my uncle.
Yeah.
And I was about 12, and I had a little cousin. He was about 6, 5, and my uncle brought him. It was his
Yeah.
son brought him with us, and we're just sitting there for like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like an hour in, he was crying. Said he was hungry, didn't want to be there, and
Internally, you're thinking
Your uncle
my
or
uncle, no, the kid.
Oh,
No, the
I was
kid.
like
Oh,
your
yeah.
uncle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
no,
like
yeah,
of
my
course
uncle
you had an
was-
awful
he did not
time. A
want to
grown
be there.
adult was.
And I was just sitting there like this, and then he was like out there, searching, making all these little noises and like hitting these block of woods together. I don't know what the
That's
hell
too
he was-
much.
I don't know what
I
he
just
was
sit
doing.
down.
He-
I
yeah,
just sit
and like
down.
if you think he's like a real hunter, he's not. He's not. He's kind of one of them like, yeah, he gets to talk about it at the barbershop later the next
Oh,
week with his
yeah.
buddies. He don't really hunt.
He's
that
about
much.
to talk.
Yeah, he's 100%.
That's I mean
but
that's
it was
all
awful. It was
hunters.
miserable. I never went hunting again.
Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't.
I'm not a big.
Yeah.
My name's Hunter, and I haven't
Oh,
hunted.
yeah.
Dude, that's
in-
awesome.
In like 8 years.
I go hunting every year.
My dad's a wildlife biologist, and like so my
That's so
family like
cool. Oh, shit.
loves hunting, and they were setting me up like they upon birth I was alley-oop to be like the greatest hunter of our family, and I have like a deer fur allergy.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I'm like
Dude, they make-
I have like a deer fur allergy. Like
Dude.
did theater in high school and stuff. So I was like, they had me going down a road, and I took a U-turn
Dude.
and just like went the other
They
direction.
had you
Subvert
named you Hunter.
expectations.
Yeah, they had me. I know all my
That's
brothers. I have
wild.
Preston, Darian, and Brandon, and then I'm Hunter. And so
Dude,
they
those
were
are
like,
good names.
They were like last one. They were like, we're gonna set him up, and I'm like,
Gosh.
I shoot my bow. I enjoy shooting my bow, but it's just like it.
I
Like,
can't do bow hunting.
hunting's if you are not like I also don't like deer meat, And so,
Oh,
like,
see, that's a big part. Is if you don't enjoy the meat, you shouldn't hunt,
exactly.
You know?
And so that's kind of like my thing. I'm like, I don't want to hunt. My family would eat it, but like, I just, I want, and I have to wake up early, get all this stuff ready. Sometimes they hunt like multiple times during the day. Like, so if in the morning you don't get something, you'll hunt in the afternoon, in the evening.
I don't do that.
Yeah, what's the point of going at like 2, 3 in the morning?
And I'm like,
that's when they're up.
That's when they're up.
That's when they're up.
Dude, I've seen deer running across.
Yeah, they should know. Hey, get up at 11. You walk out to the deer blind. Just sit in the field for a few hours till I meander up. It also depends on where you're hunting, what you're hunting. But you know what? I was hoping we'd hunt tiger. And we didn't. That's a segue and a half right there, dude.
I'm telling you,
that's a segue.
Hey, speaking of that, so let's get into it, man. So, hey, this past Saturday, everyone who's listening to this already knows what happened. The Aggies continued a streak. Not a win streak, but a losing streak. A 6-game losing streak.
It's actually that's hard.
Yeah, I think it's the first time 1972.
1972 or 4 or 6. It was an even number in the 70s.
In the 70s.
That's crazy.
Quite a long time.
Quite a long time.
Any of us were born.
So they lose another game to Auburn, who had a similar record, similar losing streak, 13-10. And guess what else? They can't play in a bowl game this year.
That's wild to me. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we weren't going to make a bowl game.
I haven't been able to watch one bowl game since I've been here.
That's wow. Oh, because wow.
Wow, yeah.
Wow. I sound like Owen Wilson. Wow. People tell me I sound like Owen Wilson all the time.
You kind of look like Owen Wilson.
Thank you.
Besides the crooked nose.
Yeah.
Your nose is fine.
Speed. I am speed. One winner. Well, hey guys, I'm Owen Wilson, guest star, Owen Wilson.
So we have Owen Wilson with us today. Yeah, so first off, overall thoughts of the game. First off, before the first off, I want to congratulate
Pre-off.
Cadillac Williams.
Yeah, Cadillac, he's the guy.
Hey.
I think he's going to be a part of Auburn's administration. I think he's earned his spot. Do I think he's going to be the head coach? I don't think so.
It's either that, or I think, truthfully, I mean, honestly, like, I could see him. Auburn has a storied history of making horrible decisions in terms of, like, their administration.
Yeah.
So, first, like, I didn't think that them getting Mississippi State's athletic director was that big of, like, a absolute home run hire.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah. But I think, I think Cadillac Williams is going to be good, and I think he can be a head coach. I do think he needs more.
See, I disagree with that. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be the guy. I think he's going to move to Auburn. That's the popular opinion.
I was looking on Twitter this morning, and there's rumors going around that.
I don't like Lane Kiffin.
People were seeing U-Hauls at his house already.
Ooh. Are you serious?
Lane Kiffin's
we know
house,
one thing's for sure: if the Christmas tree is on the curb, he's going.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it looks like, which it's not. It could be someone just trolling, but if that is the case, Lane Kiffin has a new place, new area where he can go yell and chew out opponents' kids who are half their age.
Dude, Lane Kiffin's I'm not going to talk about that.
He's one of my top 10 least favorite human beings, easily.
Dude.
He's the embodiment of that Steve Buscemi meme where it's like, how are you doing, fellow young kids?
Yeah.
He is that and tries to be so, like, hip and cool. Agree. He also is a bad human being. But also, Ole Miss has kind of adopted this air of arrogance since he's shown up. And so that's why I kind of want... This would be my dream setup. He leaves Ole Miss. Ole Miss is now, like, in shambles because, like, their God-sent head coach is left. He goes to Auburn, underperforms. Auburn has a bunch more years of mediocrity again, has to fire him. He goes to coach at Southwestern State Tech, Methodist Baptist, West University.
I heard they're actually pretty good this year.
Yeah, they're competing for that spot.
Dude,
that would be my dream setup. So he underperforms in the SEC. Just because, like, I have no beef with any head coach in the SEC. I like Nick Saban. He's the best.
I respect him.
He's the best college
I don't know if I
coach
like
of
him
all time. Like, I mean, he said some things for sure, but I mean, he if he were to be arrogant like Lane Kiffin, he could back it up. I mean, he's the best college football coach of all time. Yeah. Mike Leach is hilarious.
But they're just not good.
Yeah.
I wish Nick Saban talked trash. but he's just so good. Like
it makes me more infuriated that he's like he doesn't really step on any toes. And then he was like, A&M, over the summer people blew up the whole thing about he was like, A&M essentially said like, bought their roster, and then we did like we took total advantage of the NIL deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like, what we did is what we did wrong? No, not by the words on the law. No, not by the legal
legally,
standards.
We did nothing wrong.
Exactly. We just took advantage of this Wild West system. And I mean, Jimbo is known to be a very aggressive recruiter. So, I mean, that definitely fits his MO. But I didn't understand why Jimbo just decided to dig his heels into the ground on this issue and be like, this program is all this and that. I'm like, dude, you jumped headfirst into taking advantage of this NIL stuff, knowing full well that the stigma around it is not good, And then you're like, hey, I didn't do. And then he kept backtracking and stuff. But let's talk about Jimbo some more, because here's what I think: this season's dead. I don't even care anymore. I do care, but like, I think the focus is damage control right now, and I just don't know.
I think we don't have a bowl game because it gives us an earlier window that we can start damage control.
Oh yeah, for sure. And also we're going to be able to, jump into looking for offensive coordinators. I heard that Jimbo is very open to finding new administrative staff, or at least an offensive advisor.
Where'd you hear that?
I was watching the Josh Pate show, and he was saying that from one of his credible sources.
Oh, he is
one of Josh Pate's sources?
Yeah. So he was saying that Jimbo was. So I'm saying I heard from a guy that heard from a guy. So take this as you will. But he was saying that Jimbo was open to administrative changes, and I'm like, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think DJ should be gone. I think the defensive output that was shown is just. I'm tired of 4-2-5. I hate 4-2-5. I do not enjoy 4-2-5. Too many solo tackle opportunities, and we don't take advantage of those. We're past that era. We have an entirely outdated system. We have two coaches that have been in the game for a long time, but haven't changed their system in a long time.
Oh yeah, no, we look like 1970s Nebraska out there, just straight run the ball 4 wide or just I form. It's just so boring in a modern college football system. It's so easy because he's been doing it for so long. When you have film for 30 plus years, it's gonna be, and you don't change anything. And when you have announcers over multiple games that are just absolutely thrashing you for how bad your offense looks because you haven't changed anything, they're unbiased, but then as an unbiased person, you have to look and say, man, this is bad.
Yeah.
With the talent you have, I know you have so many people out,
but still,
you can still, and they were saying, why does A&M look so good against Alabama, then against other teams looks garbage? Because like they were saying, there's a lot more life to for some reason, and they didn't have any reasoning themselves, because obviously Jimbo's not going to say it. Some reason always seems like our offense has so much more life when we play against Alabama, but then it's just dead, Cornhusker offense from the 70s, just brute force your way down the field in 13 minutes,
It's culture, man. It's the culture, and I think it's hard to control a culture when you don't have the output on the field to kind of back that up. It's kind of a double-edged sword, if you don't have a good culture, you don't win games. If you don't win games, you're not going to have a good culture. I think it's really difficult for Jimbo to have a really good culture, really positive culture. I mean, you have an extremely when the 12th man is on your side, you are close to unstoppable. Yeah. And I think he's losing a lot of faith. People are just, I call it the uneducated critic, where it's just oh, we need to fire Jimbo, right? We need to get rid of Jimbo. I don't think so. I don't think Jimbo's a bad coach. I think Jimbo is not a good offensive play caller. I don't think that at all. I think he can set the pieces up, and he's a very good head coach. He's proven that. But there's just things that he needs to update and adapt. But this culture stuff, dude, it's why, you hear stuff about the locker room. Was that last week? And then Moose got sat. I mean, let's talk about that. For arm accessories is what Moose said. I mean, there might be more to the story.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
He came out, they're saying it's internal issues, as why he was set. He just immediately comes out right when he gets to the locker room, grabs his phone, and tweets, "I wasn't allowed to wear an arm sleeve," where not just him, but other receivers on the team wear arm sleeves the majority of the season. That can't be the reason. That can't.
That can't be the only reason.
That can't be the only. If that's a reason,
maybe there was back and forth. You know,
maybe Moose was complaining about something. I don't know what was going on. I reached out to my sources, and I haven't heard back yet from anything. But I'll keep reaching out to them.
Yeah,
haven't heard anything overall. That was just wild. Moose got set out, and then we had to sit there.
It's a big piece of your offense.
Devin Price and Noah Thomas just struggle to get open.
Yeah, and that's just when you already have so many pieces out. Devon Achane's out for that game. You've had Anais Smith, who's your best guy going in, been out since Arkansas. Your offensive line's struggling. You have a freshman QB. It's his first time starting on the road. When you take out like one of the few pieces that he has with an O-line that has not protected the pass at all this year. Like it like kind of just letting everyone have free reign. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, like he ended up throwing 11 straight incompletions in the third quarter.
And they were half looks freshman mistakes and half were because it's like, they were like.
They weren't even. They're either
300-pound men running at me.
There's either people in his face or, like I said earlier, just no one getting open at all. They're just like weak routes.
Aggie, just 4 people just run straight down the field.
Yeah, like running 4 verticals.
That third quarter was the worst quarter of football I've ever watched. Like I'm not even kidding. Like that was the worst. Even on Auburn's side, they didn't play very well. Like you know, they had a field goal in the third that ultimately won them the game at the end of it, you know, and our only time scoring was in the fourth quarter. We got 10 points, and that was in garbage time. Like, the score is a lot closer than the game was.
I wanted to talk about this when you were talking about Durkin, because I just think he's like, when we hired him, I was confused because he literally...
Wait, the heat stroke thing?
Yeah,
that was DJ?
That was DJ Durkin.
I didn't know that.
That's why he was no longer head coach of Maryland, got fired, and then
did he go
from Maryland? I don't think he went straight from Maryland.
Where'd he go? We need to fact check that. Let's fact check that real quick, because he probably made a stop and then ended up at Ole Miss's defensive coordinator, which is kind of funny because when I thought of the time when, he did coach some guys.
He spent after Maryland. He was a year with the Atlanta Falcons as a consultant.
Yeah.
Consultant?
Consultant like therapy? Like
I have it just says.
How are you feeling about this year's loss?
How do you feel?
I guess just give.
Yeah. Hey. So when it's 120 degrees outside, don't run your kids. don't overrun your kids in 2 days.
On that before I started.
Like what?
I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, that was him.
I didn't. That's crazy.
That's why I always just felt like he could be the greatest defensive coordinator on earth. Yeah. I just feel like for a culture standpoint, like this was such a crucial year because it was setting up. You're getting so many new freshmen in that are gonna play. Obviously, we've started like the most freshmen, like probably in tops in the country, and culture-wise, that's got to feel strange as a player. You know, you've got to know, like you're aware of like his past and stuff. No matter what happens, you know, whether he was the direct cause or not.
So similar to engineers. So what an engineer's job is to do is when something isn't working, let's go into the next day at work and think about how we can improve this. The run game for A&M has been atrocious since the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And up till now, there's been no adjustments.
94 total yards rushing last game.
Look at this stat. So, you know how many completions Auburn had in the first half?
How many?
8.
3.
Oh.
You know how many yards they had total the first half?
I'm going to guess 160.
200. Over 200.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that. It was crazy.
They went into halftime up 7-0.
And they won the Super Bowl, too. You know, marched in there like they just...
Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy feels so off. Because as a player, you have, they're on social media. Obviously, they're making posts and, they are. A lot of them are kind of like putting off. It's fine. We know like it's a rough patch now. We're moving ahead, which is good. I mean, there's hope, obviously, but at the same time, you have to be seeing all this stuff. Like your head coach is getting ragged on constantly. Not only just by the fan base, but again by commentators like on live national television, on people who have prominent college sports podcasts and talk shows.
Yeah.
Paul Feinbaum, Josh Pate. Josh Pate pulled out a jug that had 2014 offense written on it in Sharpie and was like, this is what Jimbo's drinking from.
You know what Jimbo's offense was? His old head coach's offense. He was an assistant coach for this guy named Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, at Florida State, where they won the Natties.
Head coach.
Yeah, and he used that.
I found his offense on NCAA 14.
No. You can literally type in Jimbo Fisher's offense, and there's a PDF file. Or no, you can look up Bobby Bowden's offense because it's the same thing. And literally,
there's a
PDF file of over 100 pages, over 100 pages of just plays. Just plays. I looked it up. I was like, you know what? Let's see. I just took Bobby Bowden's offense. Like, what's the first thing you find? The PDF file.
It's a PDF.
It's a PDF over. It has their practice schedule. It has everything. Just the same plays, the same I formation where the middle guy, the fullback, or where we stick like a slot receiver, it's about 2 yards back. Look at that I formation. It's the same offense.
Oh my gosh! Go to Pistol.
If you can find your offense on Google, that's not good. It's wild. I literally
Was that an RB swing route? What?
I saved it, and I had a buddy of mine who's like kind of like knows football, like knows the offense. I try to like get him to like teach me it. It wasn't hard at all. It was if I can learn the offense. Defensive coordinators who's been doing this,
they can tear it apart.
They can tear it apart,
and they do it
all season.
It's because you have to evolve. It's like imagine if you were. It's like and now it's kind of funny because this is kind of hopping to like different sports just quickly for a comparison. It's like running like a back down like bully ball Shaq center style of offense in today's NBA. It's not going to work because it's a completely different style of play,
different era. Yeah,
it's a lot more finesse based, and it may work on occasion, but it's not going to consistently get you results.
It's not going to win you a World Series, to throw in another sports analogy.
So I don't even want to hate on. I want to hate on the root of it. I'm upset at the root of the problem, and it's not even.
What's the root of the problem?
Coaches. It's the people who decided, hey, we just recruited the #1 recruiting class of all time.
What does that mean?
Let's extend Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, the extension.
Let's give him more money without even seeing his performance. Let me give you all an example. So I'm a big Houston Astros fan, and we had to fire AJ Hinch due to reasons.
What was it? What was that?
Did
it have something to do with like the World Series?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
No.
There's an asterisk, right?
We got this manager named Dusty Baker, brought us to the World
Absolute
Series.
stud. I love that guy.
Next year.
Hall of Fame.
In 2019 brought us to the World Series.
Lost to a amazing team.
Braves team.
Dude, that was a generational Braves team.
He brings us back to the ALCS. We lose. Finally wins us a World Series, and then we extend him.
Yeah,
for a year. Well, I mean, for a year, because he was going to retire.
You still extend him.
Yeah,
no, he didn't want to retire, but you waited on the results. You waited on why do we recruit to play football?
Yeah.
We play. Why do we have a stadium out here? Why do fans don't come and watch and come sit down and just watch them recruit? Let's watch him on the phone call with his 17-year-old and listen to how much money he's offering him.
Yeah, it's like
the way he talked to that high schooler's mom and dad. Dude, that was crazy, bro.
Crazy.
That was like the highlight. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh! Halfway through, when the mom offered him a drink and he said yes,
and then he went, "I'll pay your mortgage." That was awesome.
And then he bought the family a car.
What did they give Eric Dickinson back in the 80s? It was the Trans A&M. It was a Trans Am. They called it the Trans.
It was like with the eagle on the hood of the car.
Yeah, it was a Trans Am. Yeah. They gave him the People called it the Trans A&M, and then he went to SMU and made more money in college than he did in the NFL, and then like a year later, SMU got the death penalty, and they lost their football program. Do you know about that?
Wait, what was that?
That was a death. So the NCAA has this thing called the death penalty, and what it is you cannot. It's like ruins football.
I'm
so
surprised SMU like right now is doing like as okay as they are.
So this was in 1985, okay, and in the 80s, the big teams in Texas were SMU, A&M, and Texas. Okay, so recruiting in the state of Texas was insane. They were paying all kinds of money for these players. I think Texas gave Eric Dickinson. I'm going to use Eric Dickinson because I know the most about him, but like they gave a ton of money to other kids too. They gave Eric Dickinson like $200,000. They bought his mom a house. A&M gave him a gold-plated Trans Am.
Texas A&M did?
Yeah, and they called it the Trans A&M, which
That's
is
sick. And he took the car.
which is
and
awesome.
went to
Yeah,
SMU.
and then he went to SMU.
Oh, that's beautiful.
SMU was nobody knows how much SMU was paying him, but people are probably like it's probably close to $1 million. It's probably more than that.
It worked, right? Wasn't SMU like?
Oh yeah, they were
I need
incredible.
to go
They were
watch,
so
isn't there
good.
some called, like the Pony Express.
Yep. ESPN
ESPN
30 for 30. It's incredible. It's my
watch that.
favorite 30 for 30 other than the Bo Jackson one. And so
I like
you know, the NCAA was like, "Hey guys, you got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop." You know,
Yeah.
kept slapping people on the wrist, kept doing all this. It was super corrupt. Well, and the NCAA was like, "We've had enough." SMU got busted paying. It wasn't even that much money comparatively to what they have done, but it was like close to $50,000, close to $100,000. They're like, "Okay, you are no longer allowed to have a football team for 2 years." The death penalty. So SMU didn't have a football program at all. So kids lost scholarships. The boosters ran out of town. They didn't really have any other sports because, like, you know, everything's about football in Texas.
100%.
And so what ended up happening was it destroyed their program and it cost them like billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like with a B.
It was 1981.
Oh, it was 81. I thought it was 85.
No, it was 1981. They went 10-1, and their only loss was a 7-9.
Was that the year they had the death penalty, or was that the year that they had Eric
This
Dickinson?
was the year they got the death penalty. It was 1981. And their only loss was 7-9 loss against number 10 Texas.
7-9.
7-9.
Wow.
That's Jimbo's.
That's like an Iowa score.
yeah. It's like
Yeah, I read a tweet. I read a tweet that said A&M is a Devon A chain away from being Iowa, and I was like,
the announcers,
oh, that hurts.
They said they were like, wow, at least Iowa's offense scored 14. I'm like, no.
Oh, wow.
No.
That sucks.
Well, so back to the root of it. I mean, this is why you wait for the production. Because you can, no matter what sport, no matter how good you recruit, and no matter how many players you get, if you can't freaking coach them and win games, then what's the point of recruiting them? What's the point of these boosters wasting all their money, the A&M wasting all their money? Like, to get these players that, you know, rather go party up in Prairie View, rather go buy these nice Chargers, and, like, swerve around me in a one lane, you know, and just, like, why spend and waste all this money? Why sign them to extension? And now everyone's pissed off, like, let's fire Jimbo. Oh, well, you can't. Because his payout is, what, 86 mil?
God, so much.
It's like 85 million?
To throw an analogy
89?
on an analogy, it's like you know, you're like a restaurant that's trying to be elite, right? You get this chef and he's got connections and he gets all these good ingredients and you're like, all right, let's open it up. He hasn't done anything with those ingredients.
You can't cook nothing. You have the best you have the best spices from India.
Yeah.
Oh, and he microwaves them.
And he microwaves them.
Yeah.
And he made, like, you have the best stuff to make the best filet mignon, and then you end up making a freaking
little French.
Yeah, a little freaking hot pocket or a freaking Big
and
Mac.
Serve that out, and you're like,
I'll take a Big Mac.
Good ingredients. You're like,
we gave you the ingredients. Yeah, exactly.
Those ingredients connect.
I think hindsight's definitely 2020.
That was a great
you know,
analogy,
like
by the way.
that was phenomenal.
That was phenomenal.
Hindsight is definitely 2020. So we're stuck with Jimbo, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. We're stuck with Jimbo.
Maybe a decade of hell.
Yeah. What do we do now? The roots are buried. The roots are buried. Like, what happens?
Hey, there's one
what
thing
needs
for
to
sure.
happen?
I said this earlier. So when I came in here, when I came to College Station at Texas A&M, there was kind of the prime early Jimbo stages. we started getting a few recruits here and there, and then we had that best recruiting class, and I'm like, was real excited to cover Texas A&M football in my head, thinking like, yes, I get to write about one of the best football teams that ever came into Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And instead, I'm writing about one of the worst football teams. But hold up, at least we have good baseball.
Yeah.
I got to write about the best college A&M baseball team last year.
Oh my gosh, dude!
I gotta give a shout out to Texas A&M meat judging for winning.
Oh yeah, they won the national championship.
Let's go. We are a meat judging school.
We are a meat judging.
Dude, that's freaking sick.
And don't.
That and like equestrian.
Did you read the comments?
No, I tried not to.
It was just horrible. But hey, you know what?
We are a meat judging school, and it's just A&M football has been, and it's so hard. I was talking to someone in A&M athletics. He's not affiliated with football, but he is associated with A&M athletics. He's a coach, and it was an interesting perspective because I never really considered it because there's such a huge football culture here that we just expects to win, and he was like, I loathe A&M football because why do you expect to win? What have you done?
Yeah, no.
What has
Good question.
And I was like, you're right. He's like, they won the Orange Bowl.
That was huge.
That was a 9-1 season with a quarterback who's been in that doo-doo offense for 4 years.
Yeah.
So is Kellen Mond a good quarterback, or he was just he was an average quarterback that knew the system very well?
I think he's a good
side note. Yeah.
Good quarterback, and that's it.
I mean,
I think people did not give Kellen Mond the respect he deserves because he was doing now that we can step back and look at how horrendous our quarterback room has been because of Jimbo's offense. I give so much props to Kellen Mond. I was always a Kellen Mond believer. I loved Kellen Mond. I thought he was a quarterback that steadied the ship, and that quarterback was never going to be our issue. If we had to adjust and work something around, he was going to be the one that we didn't have to worry about week to week. But
now we got to worry about everything.
I'm probably gonna get a little hate from y'all. But just I said a minute ago, I think Kellen Mond is a great guy. He's very, loves A&M, probably a good family man overall.
That's how you start.
I'm
just waiting for the clause.
But he's an average quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then he's not. It's like let me compare him to another quarterback. If you're okay, so you know who Will Rogers is, right?
Yeah.
Half the year led the league in passing yards. Last year he had a lot of he has the most passing yards in Mississippi State history. He is not a good quarterback. However, he's been there as long as their coach has, as Mike Leach has. Mike Leach has domed that system into his brain, and that he knows every play, every route. Kellen Mond's last year of football, he knew the whole system. He knew every route, and it's easy when you know where everyone's going to go, and that's why you keep expecting these quarterbacks like Max Johnson, Haynes King, who has no idea what the system is, Connor Wigman, who doesn't know the system.
Yeah, the pro style.
Yeah, the pro style, any of that, and you expect them.
Pro style is so difficult for a quarterback. It's one of the most difficult QB systems.
And for the Orange Bowl, an average quarterback is all we needed. Had one of the best O-lines A&M has had in forever, consistently.
And the healthiest.
Everything else was good. Yeah, their offensive line was awesome.
Offensive line, that was the most cohesive. A&M has had, we have Luke Jokel, Jermaine Ifedi, Kenyon Green. They've had individual offensive line. Matthews, all of them. They've had individual offensive linemen who have been really good. That was the most cohesive, best offensive line A&M's had in so long. You have Isaiah Spiller, you have A-Chain, you have Anais Smith, you've got...
That was Watermeyer's best year.
Yeah, and when you've got all those pieces, all you need is an average quarterback. And now...
Last year, just...
You see, the Bryce Youngs and the C.J. Strouds, and you see, all these elite... Hendon Hooker this year is an animal. You see all these elite quarterbacks, and that's what you desire so much, especially because, it got so spoiled. Come the SEC, you get Johnny Manziel, a generational talent who just makes, of course, and Mike Evans to pair along with that, a generational wide receiver who's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You get so spoiled because, and again, this is Hardy back to what I was talking about with the guy I was talking to. It was what you throw money at it, but there's been no like setup to like he talks about Texas. He's like I don't like Texas obviously, but they've won national championships recently. You know, in 2007, like they have like a championship winning culture. And so, like, it's kind of like it's a little justified there. But A&M has our most recent achievements, the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
And then we just
That's so.
Yeah.
That like puts it in perspective.
Yeah, and then you just throw money at it, and we're expecting the money to solve all the problems. But the issue is not.
Sound like the government.
Yeah. Like we're just throwing like money. Money should solve all our problems. But then you look at it, it's like money is not the end all be all. It requires you just because you bring in the elements doesn't mean the elements are gonna work. Like it's.
So how do you get those elements to work? That's what we're figuring out.
Then I have an assignment for everyone listening to this. Go watch Redeem Team, that documentary.
Yeah.
About that Olympic team with D Wade, Kobe, LeBron. Those are all individuals who are really good at the sport. However, like year prior to 2008, they lost to Greece in the championship. These were just individuals playing their game. Coach K came in there, formulated everything, got them playing as a team, and they're doing good. And overall, what I'm trying to say is, just having the individual talent, just having all the talent in the world, the best recruits in the nation isn't enough. You have to be able to formulate them good, and that's all comes down to coaching.
Yeah,
coaching, administration, culture. Like, culture is the big thing.
Culture is huge. And we can use that as a segue if you want. Because then you look at, like, another program we have, where culture is the opposite of the issue.
Yeah.
Culture is the strongest aspect of it, and they may not be the most talented, they may not be the best, but they are going to play until they their blood, sweat, and tears are all drained from them.
100%.
Go out and whoop ACU.
It's crazy how we all know what program it is.
I know. I'm like
I would fight a grown grizzly bear for Buzz Williams.
Oh, 100%.
I would.
No.
No.
Let me
fight this grizzly bear together.
Dude, I'm like 140 pounds. I'm not fighting a bear.
Who is that, Hunter?
Buzz Williams has been like
an A&M basketball program.
A&M basketball has been so fun to watch. Even like and I'm in a group chat with some people, and they were asking, they're like, what's been harder, this football losing streak, or because A&M basketball, we won the 8-game losing streak last year. I was like, the football for sure, because basketball, you felt like they were due. They were fighting so hard, and like I'm so passionate. I love them so much. They were fighting so hard, and you could tell they were so upset because they had this drive to win, and like some of the pieces just weren't clicking here and there, but there was a desire to win in an underdog culture that you felt like they were due. And then, of course, obviously they were due. You know, they should have made March Madness last year easily. I feel like everyone in the country can kind of agree there's.
I mean.
No, 100. No,
yeah,
100%.
I mean Notre Dame got in, and we like beat Notre Dame and had a. Didn't they have like a harder schedule? Like that was like the only argument. Like we had a better record.
And I'm not gonna last year's non-conference was a cakewalk.
No, it was.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's what I was so. That's why I was kind of pumped about this non-conference. Is not as it's a little harder.
Boise State, the Myrtle Beach is looking better.
Oregon State's not a mess around team this year. Memphis, Wofford,
Isn't Memphis like usually good?
No, Memphis is good. In Colorado, if Colorado doesn't lose that weird head scratcher to Grambling, they're ranked this week because they Tennessee's ranked 11. I don't know if you saw, but Colorado like smoked Tennessee.
Really, Colorado? I don't know. I don't know college basketball until March hit.
So Colorado, so the Pac-12 and Colorado doing this thing. I think it's with the SWAC conference where it's like they were doing like kind of to get exposure for them. So the Pac-12 is going on the road to like play.
Oh,
in
cool.
Some of these. So like Colorado played Grambling, and Grambling like torched them.
Really?
Yeah, and it was like so everyone's like, what the heck? And then Colorado then goes to Nashville to play Tennessee in a neutral site.
And Tennessee like won the SEC last year, right?
They're ranked 11 when they come in, and Colorado, for all intents and purposes, Colorado smokes them. The second in total, I think they held Tennessee to 25% shooting. Tennessee shot better from 3, and it was like 10 for 37 than they did from 2. Colorado.
Whoa.
If it wasn't for the free throws,
that's a wild stat.
Colorado beats them by like 20 plus.
Yeah.
Colorado torches them. So
oh
if
my
Colorado
gosh.
beats Grambling, there's a possible ranked matchup between if we take care of Murray State. Now I'm not gonna. I know Murray State lost a bunch of pieces because their head coach went to LSU.
Oh yeah.
Left. But it's if you have a culture as a top basketball program, you're going to be pretty good. So no discredit to Murray State. We have to get past them first.
Yeah.
But we get past Murray State, and assuming Colorado gets past UMass, that would be a potential ranked matchup in the Myrtle Beach. And then say, again, hypotheticals, we end up being Colorado. That sets up another potential matchup with Loyola Chicago, who has.
Oh yeah, they were good last year, right?
Yeah, they've kind of been especially in recent years.
Is Sister Jean still kicking it?
I'm surprisingly yes. I when they made it to March, I was like,
is that nun?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a legend.
She's awesome.
She's
basketball is so fun to watch because again, they may not be the best. They're not the best talent wise. I'll say that.
Yeah, that makes it fun. The underdog stories is so much fun.
They're so locked in, so
great
focused, movie. And the way I describe it, because college basketball culture kind of has a culture that college football is gaining, where it's a me, like I'm gonna be the best to set me up for professional sports. I feel like A&M basketball, all the players want to play college basketball. Yeah. Like they want to play college basketball and they want to play for each other and they care about each other and they want to win with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all underdogs. It's all guys who Henry Coleman doesn't get like any playing time at Duke. Transfers. Julius Marble this year, no playing time at Duke. I would say the only one on our roster that was like a starter and a really efficient player for their school for transferring here is probably Dexter Dennis this year as a graduate.
Yeah.
Anderson Garcia, limited playing time, Mississippi State. Javonte Brown to gain playing time at UConn. All
Robinson
these,
from Arkansas.
Exactly, yeah. KK gets no playing time. Arkansas. I'm trying to think who else we got. Tyrese Radford. He was really good at Virginia Tech, but still probably wasn't being as optimized in like the role he had. Quentin Jackson last year, I love Q so much. He was such a hard.
That was one of the most exciting.
He is
basketball players I got to watch
and he's doing
year.
Great in the G League right now. He had like 24 points like last game, and it's so
good for him.
Yeah, but it's so great because the culture feels different. Like it feels like, this is no disrespect to obviously the players in football when they're in high school, they're performing and getting these rankings. Obviously, I'm not going to just
yeah.
When you have that high of a ranking, I feel like there is like an entitlement to be good. And when you're an underdog like this in a culture that Buzz has established, because Buzz's culture is ridiculous. Again, like
I've heard great things about Buzz.
I would run through so many walls for Buzz Williams.
And fight a grizzly bear?
I would run through the walls to get to the grizzly bear.
And fight them like straight on.
Yes, like I would I might go 100%. Down trying, but I would
You will. No, you will. There's no way you win.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't listened to Buzz talk. He is
okay, so
no, he's awesome.
I'm not gonna lie. So I think so. Like you said, the culture. So like last year's team started off kind of. I mean, yeah, you're barely beating Kingsville. You beat ACU by a buzzer beater. This year, you smack Kingsville, you smack ULM, and you just smack ACU, who's a great basketball program.
Oh yeah, a couple years ago, beat Texas.
Beat Texas.
Oh, I remember that. That was awesome.
They've always been kind of like
their curfew got extended. Did you hear?
Do what?
ACU. They're a Christian school, Abilene Christian University, and they have a curfew at it's like 1 a.m. Like if you live on campus, you have to be back in the dorms by 1 a.m. or back in your student housing, and they extended it to 2 a.m. after they beat Texas. That's freaking hype. Like I have a few friends that go to ACU, and one of them's on the football team, and he called me after they won, and he was like, dude, like. This is awesome. Like, me and a bunch of my friends, we're going to go out to Whataburger. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome, dude. And I was like, don't you have to go back to bed? I was like, don't you have to go back to bed? And he was like,
dude, we're going to Chili's.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah, but, like, they celebrate. Like, that was a huge deal for ACU. I heard about that for a long time. Yeah. So, good for ACU. I don't know anything about college basketball. No, so, like, what are we like, I know Buzz Williams is really good, and I watched it's Ian Shumpert, right? Like the NBA player, Shumpert.
Iman Shumpert.
Yeah, Iman Shumpert. Well, no.
No,
Oh, yeah. Well, I watched one of his interviews, and he was talking about how in college basketball, it's much more system based than it is like, individual. Like in the NBA, like you literally have players that are controlling your roster, right. LeBron, right? And then, it's a completely different style of play, and I really thought of Buzz Williams when he was talking about that, because I was like, last year we had a great system. Like I think that's what towards the end, I think that's what really pulled us out of that slump. But like, what are we good at? What are we bad at? Like, what do we do?
So, go on.
I was gonna say, first off, one thing that's great about Buzz that another coach we have obviously doesn't do, he evolves.
Okay.
After the 8-game losing streak, completely changes the offense. He's like, we need to simplify this and dumb it down and get it to where we can just score points.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Oh.
Buzz's defense is I would describe it like an underdog defense. It is like a hound you, and it is like I'm going to impose my will upon you until you physically cannot stand it.
Okay, so it's like a attrition, like war of attrition kind of thing.
Yeah, that was like one of the things last year. So earlier in the season, this team, like you say, you got a bunch of transfers coming in.
Yeah.
Team trying to teach a system, like that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It takes, and that's why it's like first have to go on the 8-game losing streak. He simplifies the offense because they're struggling to score.
Yeah.
Like, dude, game 1, they shot at the end of the game. It was 12 from 26 from the 3.
This is this year.
However, I don't like to use 12 from 26. They were actually 11 for 18 from the 3 before the 4th string came in and just started chunking up shots. They were shooting over 50%.
Yeah, like the starters were.
Yeah,
lights out.
Lights out. So. Oh, go on, man.
I was gonna say, and what's some fun about like Buzz? Like I used the example like the complete opposite. Is because it was the craziest thing for me last year. St. Bonaventure.
Yeah.
They're like all 5 of their starters, seniors. They play 40 minutes.
That's a long time.
That's the whole game.
Yeah, that's a.
They're in
that is the whole game.
Their starters play the entire time. Buzz, we have 10 to 12 people on our bench that can play minutes.
Like a Manu, like like a guy, the 6th man. You can bring him in and play. And
so like Buzz will just hockey swap. He'll take 5 out and put 5 in. And
dude,
it is a war of attrition.
That's bad, dude.
Now, so sometimes with that, so last year he did that a lot.
Yeah.
Where he bring 5 in and 5 out. I'm not a big fan of that. However,
why is that?
If you got a team that's very energized, a bunch of dogs that can get everyone on the court, and you're continuously pressing, and you're subbing 5 in and 5 out to give the other people breaks, that can be very productive.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm not a big fan of that.
He doesn't do it as
he didn't do it like last year. The first half of the season did it a lot, and as we kind of started developing, starting to figure out who our players were, he started just subbing more individually and 2s like that. It's early in the season. He's gonna sub 5s in like that, try to figure out who our guys are for the season. Kind of get them ready. But as the season goes on, you can expect a little kind of more of the players.
Yeah, you'll kind of get the starters and get the okay.
One of the top games I would say early season to really look at and say wow, they just wore them down and beat them down was Notre Dame. We played them
I watched that game. Yeah.
It was middle of the night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were down at half, and then you could just see the second half. Notre Dame was so tired.
Yeah.
They were and we were just flying around and causing turnovers and disrupting because it comes to that. I think Buzz's system pairs perfectly with the underdog mentality because it's we want to beat you so bad, and it does not matter how long it takes us to beat you, whether it takes us a half, if it takes us 35 minutes, if it takes us 40 minutes in overtime, we are going to do everything in our power.
Yeah.
To beat you. If it doesn't happen,
and that's a great mentality when it comes to tournament times. When it comes to during the season, during that 8-game losing streak, I think we got smacked by Auburn. We come into the SEC tournament and beat them,
toast them, and really, if it isn't for Wendell Green popping off 4 threes in a row from the same spot, that Auburn game isn't as close to the end as it is. But then you see when it got close to the end, they composed themselves.
Yeah.
And then, Quentin Jackson turns the ball over, and then, LeBron James sprints back and pins it against the backboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're so fun to watch even when they lose because you know that no matter what, the energy and effort's going to be there because... That's nice. Because Buzz only recruits guys that he knows are going to give that energy and effort.
He wants the heart.
And one guy... in particular that they recruited freshman Solomon Washington. Now
I heard about that.
You go on the stat sheet and you go look at his stats and it's freaking 2 rebounds, 2 points, even if he scores and assists maybe.
More than me.
If you don't watch the basketball games, you look at the stats, you're this dude's trash. But he's one of those guys who the stats doesn't describe the kind of player he is, and he's like the perfect.
And do you know what his nickname was in high school?
What was
it? Was the 5-star stopper.
Oh, yeah, that's on his bio.
Oh,
on Twitter.
His nickname was the 5-star.
Oh my god,
that's sick.
He was Gatorade Player of the Year in Louisiana, and that was like his whole thing.
Yeah.
And you can see like, okay, it makes so much sense Buzz recruited him because he's defense and he is lanky and he can switch him on a center, on a guard, on a forward, on whoever he can guard against anyone.
That's huge.
So you go look at his stats in high school, and it's so funny because he averaged a triple-double in high school. Now, you go look, it was a triple-double, triple-double, and your traditional triple-double, points, rebounds, assists.
What was his?
Points, rebounds, steals.
He averaged a triple-double with steals?
Points, rebounds, steals. Go look it up, dude.
That's crazy.
Clamps. And, so usually when you go recruit dogs for any sport, Louisiana has them. Louisiana had those guys that will go and grind them out.
Dude.
And you had the number 1 player out of Louisiana on your squad.
Yeah.
Who's straight out NOLA, straight out of the Bayou.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Buzz talked about where he got him from. He was like, I think it was in 9th Ward. I think it is. He's like, if you were there, you were tough. He was like, because Buzz coached at New Orleans, University of New Orleans.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I know what that's like. And
dude, it's good to have a pipeline to Louisiana, dude.
Tough, you have to be strong, and you have to be like mental fortitude, and you have to want to fight, and that's what's so again, they just keep harping on it. It's so fun to watch A&amp basketball because it is relentless, and you can it's so enjoyable in a sadistic way to watch the will of the other team.
Yeah, just crumble.
You can watch it be broken.
That's so awesome.
The Arkansas game and the SEC tournament, you can watch their will just kind of crumble near the end.
And this was that Arkansas team last year. I mean, they were really talented this year. But this was Arkansas that had one of my favorite guards and center combo last year. It was Note and Jalen Williams. I said it. So last year basketball got off to a poor start, and I'm a big basketball guy. I was like, all right, so what college basketball team I'm gonna keep up this year? And I was like, Arkansas is gonna be like that team, and I was hyping on watch them early. I was like, Note's gonna be a problem. He was a problem throughout the season. They took down Gonzaga in the tournament.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, they're a really good team. A&M goes on, crushes them, but just playing that system he's talking about. I love this team. There's a lot of players that I'm really excited to watch grow. One of them being Solomon Washington. Another guy he brought up, Julius Marble.
Who's that? What does he play?
He's a center from we got
big guy
from Michigan State. Yeah, he's
Michigan State.
And any guy recruited by Izzo is going to be a pretty good player. Like you said, didn't get a lot of minutes. I'm really excited to watch him develop. He's kind of they bring out that 5. The other 5 comes in, plays similar style to Henry Coleman. Similar style, not the same, but it's
a little more of a he's a little more of a back down bully ball kind of center, but he does have a really pretty jump shot.
Oh yeah.
So he can step out of the paint and
oh, dude, that's the most useful skill.
Well, so watching these first 2 games, so I was watching them, and I can just tell that he has so much potential. However, he isn't there yet, and I'm really excited to watch him grow. There's a lot of times I was watching these past few games where he'll come and throw up some hook shot thinking he's Jabari Smith, and it's just absolutely ugly. It's horrible. However, he's going to grow. He's going to get into it. He's going to be one of those top players coming off the bench, another good big man.
I love basketball for the developmental reasons. You can have one guy that's just not good one year, and he just shows up the next.
And that's and Buzz's system is he's going to develop these players. Are going to be outstanding. They're playing good now. They're going to be really good towards the end, similar to last year's team. A lot of players kind of grew.
Buzz is so smart because he's hit the transfer portal. He said it intentionally. He's like, we're getting young guys. We're not going to transfer portal. I think the only graduate that he has gotten has been this year with Dexter Dennis. He's gotten sophomores, he's gotten freshmen, he's gotten juniors, guys that he knows.
He's going for the malleable guys.
Guys that he knows have multiple years that can have multiple years in this system. So he is and I was thinking about it recently. If you cut the COVID year out, truthfully, if I'm Buzz Williams, I feel like we're on schedule. Yeah. First year comes in, doesn't.
What do you mean on schedule?
Like first year he comes in, has no guys he's recruited.
Okay.
Does pretty decently. Get into SEC tournament, gets cut out. COVID year is an absolute nightmare. We don't play a single game in the month of February because of weather and because of COVID, and it was awful. I don't count that. Let's cut that year out. Third year, all the guys from last year, COVID either transfer, graduate, whatever. gets essentially an entirely new roster, all guys that he has handpicked.
Oh yeah.
Should have made the NCAA tournament, make it all the way to the NIT final, almost win, buzzer beater shot to lose. And now this year, 2 games in, top 24, different air about it. Every year it's been the progression and getting better. Now he's got his guys.
And it's so different from the past, from the football program, where as more years comes on, like you're saying, the longer Buzz gets here, it's getting like worse and worse in football. Basketball, I feel like it's getting better and better. And this is a great team. This is a great year to do it right here, to come back and make the tournament. And that's why I love teams like this, like Buzz's teams, over teams like. So Arkansas is a top 10 team in the nation right now.
They got
I love their coach. They are a really talented team. Has the most talent in the nation right now. However, Arkansas plays a team like this, like A&M, a team like Illinois, who's kind of another. They have Coach Underwood over there, who's a great coach, kind of similar style to Buzz. You go into tournament, teams like A&M, teams like Illinois over there are going to win in advance. And I love Buzz's system. This is a tournament-built team, and they make the tournament this season, they're going to be hard to stop.
And you can tell. Like, I went to, college basketball is probably my favorite sport just in general. I love it because, like, we can even see it already beginning this year. There's been so many just random upsets that have been, like, hilarious. Just, like,
Oh, that's the best part. March is the most interesting month of the year.
Texas Southern doesn't have a win on the season. Beats Arizona State in overtime. Grambling beats Colorado. Bellarmine, who runs the funniest offense you'll ever see, beats Louisville. They don't dribble. They only pass. It's like 1950s
It's
NBA.
like middle school.
Oh, it's like 1950s. No,
it is
literally.
like 1950s NBA. They just pass the ball, and it's so, like you talked about system in college basketball. It's so perfect.
It's like just precise.
They know exactly, like they are in their system.
That's so satisfying.
It is. It's extremely fun to watch. But college basketball is so great, but you can tell, at least in terms of A&M, it's getting the attention that they are, maybe not as much attention as they deserve, because I think they deserve all the attention in the world. Because not only is A&M performing well on the court, off the court with Buzz and everything, they're amazing. Yeah. Does Buzz's Bunch, which is like it's like a camp for special needs kids, awesome. To get them to play basketball, teach them.
Cool.
Get them to meet each other, meet the players, and that's like a week or something like that. He sent out a tweet the other day. He's like, I want to thank the 12th man. I have no one has advised me on this, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to have a pizza party Friday afternoon so y'all can come and, like, hang out.
Had a pizza party.
Yeah,
like,
just,
all the students would pull up and grab a piece.
It was just like, hey, everyone, like, I want to thank ticket holders and, like, the student section. So, like, if you want to come and, like.
I did not hear about this.
He's, like,
I would have showed up.
Great for the community. He's such a great man. So and his culture has, like, been imposed on it, and so you can feel people love and care about basketball so much. First 2 games last year, North Florida and Abilene Christian, like, no one. There was, like, no one in the stands. Yeah. It was like, we won in double overtime on a buzzer beater, and that was, like, the saddest buzzer beater against Abilene Christian last year. That was, like, the saddest buzzer beater I've, like, ever been a part of, because it was, like, you're going crazy, but then you look around, there's, like, no one there. This year, the ULM game and the Abilene Christian game, Rita Arena was
it packed?
It was pretty full.
It's either they're in the
like second deck
in the culture, or they're just so tired of football that they're.
I think it's got to be all the above. It's got to be all the above. I mean, I literally heard people. I was watching the game with like a huge group of people on Saturday, and people were like, "I guess we're a basketball school now," and we just talked about basketball in the entire fourth quarter. And I don't know much about basketball in general. Like I know how the game works, but like I can't sit down and tell you about like defensive schemes or offense or anything like that. Like I'm just like, you score and LeBron's really good, but Michael Jordan's better is what I've been told. But like, like I don't know anything, but I have heard about Buzz Williams and I've heard about this A&M basketball team and I've heard about this culture. And I think that's for a guy who doesn't pay attention to college basketball until March, and I make very uneducated brackets,
You don't think even the educated people make good brackets.
No matter how much you know, they're going to get.
I make one, and I'm like, we're just going to take, what's the funniest mascot, like, what's the funniest name I can find on here, or, like, if I put these people all the way, like, what are the odds, like, just, it's just fun to do, but to hear about this culture and the potential that this team has. I mean, what's our record right now?
2-0.
2-0.
and we're heading to Myrtle Beach, which is like non-conference. Usually, everyone will play in like a tournament.
Yeah.
And so we're in the Myrtle Beach with, I think, Charlotte, UMass, Colorado, Loyola Chicago, and Murray State.
That's a tough lineup, isn't it?
It's Murray State. Murray State is definitely on a bit of a down because they lost their coach.
UMass
got Frank Martin. Yeah, from South Carolina.
That sounds like a guy that's good at basketball.
Colorado just beat number 11 Tennessee.
Yeah.
Loyola Chicago is always going to be a tough out. It's extremely
kind of a heat check.
That's
what it sounds like.
Thing. Yeah, because our non-conference last year was garbage. We had a horrible non-conference. Yeah. We played a whole bunch of nobodies. And it is a proving time now.
That's awesome.
Boise State was a tournament team last year. It is the time to kind of show up and put your money where your mouth is. We're 24 now in the AP poll.
First time since 2018.
Now it's time to prove it. Yeah,
that's whoa.
2018 team had Tyler Davis, Robert Williams, Admon Gilder, TJ Starks.
Yeah.
A bunch of really good basketball players, and then make the Sweet 16 2016. You have like NBA players on that roster. Alex Caruso.
Alex, yeah.
Is
he still with the Bulls?
Jalen Jones. Daniel House.
Yeah.
Tony Chocho-Morelos. It's different from how it's been before because you have a bunch of like really elite players that you're like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna make it. But this year it's just the different pieces. The sum is greater than the whole. All of them together are a better basketball team than what they would be individually, and I think it's because of Buzz's system and culture. But not to discredit the pieces. Like we got like Wade Taylor. He can just stop wherever he wants.
Dude's averaging like 19 right now.
Oh my gosh.
18 in the first game, 21 in the second game, and then to start the second half against Abilene Christian, he just pulls up and hits like 2 or 3 threes.
Oh my gosh.
Shooting
dude,
over 70% from the three.
Dude, good for him. That's insane.
He is something. He is built different. He is a flamethrower. Like when he wants, he can just ignite and he'll just pop off for like 10 points in a row just because he can.
Your college basketball filing cabinet's insane, dude. You just pull it open, you're just going through it.
So this is a lot of great talk. I really enjoy y'all coming on.
Thanks for having us,
man. Final notes real quick before we have to wrap it up. But I agree. I like how you're talking. I love the excitement from the team. I love the culture. I think they earned the top 24 spot. I think that's a smart choice by the AP poll. But stay away from the hype. That's something no matter what sports you're in. You know what I'm talking about? Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't take in all the hype. Keep playing your game and
to close, I will say the motto for this year for basketball is it's sick. It's foresight, but it's FOUR because it's the 4th year of Buzz Williams. So it's like he's like this goal this year, foresight. We are focusing on what we're doing and we are going to make the tournament.
That's so cool.
And so, you'll see the players they'll just be like a post of a basketball and they'll retweet it or they'll mention it and they'll just put the 4 emoji and an eyeball.
Dude,
sick.
Foresight. They're just focused on what their goals are doing. Who cares about what happens in the future? Make the NBA, whatever. Go play in Lithuania.
Yeah, good luck to them in the future. All that stuff.
Yeah, but they are focused on what they're doing now, and they are playing college basketball.
That is a great culture.
So starting this Thursday, Texas A&M basketball goes on to the Myrtle Beach Invitational. They play November 17th on Thursday against Murray State. Next day, we'll play the winner of Colorado and UMass, and then if they keep winning, they'll play in the championship on Sunday. And we'll see how that goes. It's going to be an interesting invitational. The hype is there. I'm warning if a basketball player listens to this, if anyone listens to this, just stay away from the hype. Keep playing your ball game. Don't let the hype get in your head, because you're going to end up being the number 6 team
in the nation.
Sixth place in the nation.
You'll have the same amount of losses as you started out ranked. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So stay with the hype. Keep playing your game. The coach is there. The crowds are there. Dude, I was so PO'd, dude, at that exhibition game against Kingsville because last year I went and I was sitting on the courtside seats, legs propped it up, no one there, arms, chilling. Today I had to sit up near the rafters because how many people were there. It was exciting.
No, that's awesome.
The energy is so much different in basketball. And just like wait till, if we go on and handle the Myrtle Beach Invitational, and then we'll be back against SMU. Because
DePaul and then SMU.
We go after Myrtle Beach. We go to DePaul. We handle all those games and then come back against SMU. You can bet Reed Arena.
SMU might be live. It's gonna be.
Dude, I want to go. Yeah. So bad.
I'm excited. It's gonna be an exciting season. Y'all tune in. The battalion will be covering all of it, all the basketball games. They get hype. We're probably gonna be putting out more coverage during the week. Talk more about basketball. I love to talk about a successful sport on here.
Yeah, baseball.
Had to be talking about football.
Baseball.
All year. Baseball season's coming up.
That's my filing cabinet is baseball.
Yeah.
I swear I'm not dumb, man. I know something.
Oh yeah, we'll get you on during baseball season for sure. But hey, I appreciate y'all coming on. I appreciate y'all talking.
Thank you,
This was a great podcast. I appreciate all the listeners. Let's hold on. There's applause. Y'all can hear it. Yeah, there's applause going on. That just went on. Do I have all these little?
Oh, you have a soundboard?
Oh yeah, dude.
Is it like the
horn, alarm, applause? I got a little drum beat. But guess what? Hold on.
Oh, give me a drum roll.
It's not your.
Gigamags.
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 There you go. Hey, thank y'all for coming on. I'll see y'all next week.
See you.